Welcome to HFY Sci-Fi Stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Luna Hayes, a marvel of invisibility, navigated the Galactic Defense Academy's halls, a solitary human amidst the stars. She glided like a wraith, head bowed, datapad clutched tight, a fragile shield against a universe that rarely saw her. Yet invisibility held its own perils, for one could stumble right into the colossal presence of Commander Vex Thor, a towering reptilian whose very form radiated raw power. "Forgive me," Luna stammered, recoiling from his formidable armor-clad chest, a mere speck against his might. Her datapad, knocked from her grasp, sent holographic star charts skittering across the pristine floor. "I truly didn't see you, which is utterly absurd, as you're impossible to overlook. I should have been more aware, but I was lost in the mysteries of gravitational anomalies." Commander Vex Thor's voice, a resonant rumble like shifting tectonic plates, echoed through the space. His golden eyes, burning with a disdain usually reserved for cosmic detritus, fixed upon her. "Humans," he began, a growl in his tone. "I still struggle to comprehend the Council's decision to admit your species into military service. You lack essential weaponry claws, fangs, natural armor, and, from my observations, any semblance of basic coordination." Luna scrambled to gather her scattered projections, her apologies whispered to each shimmering star map. "You speak the absolute truth, sir," she confessed, her voice small. "I am, in essence, a walking catastrophe. My mother always warned I could stumble over my own shadow, a feat I've actually accomplished, proving my unique talent for ineptitude." The commander's tail swept back and forth, a clear sign of his escalating displeasure. "Your homeworld's gravity must be pathetically weak to birth such delicate creatures. It's no wonder humans are relegated to remedial combat training." "Oh, we're not weak," Luna began, then quickly corrected herself. "I mean, we are undeniably fragile. Please don't misunderstand. But Earth's gravity is, in fact, quite robust compared to many planets. Not that I'm complaining, mind you. It's simply the laws of physics." Vex Thor let out a snort, a sound like an overtaxed steam engine. "Physics, you say? The same physics that purportedly allowed your species to earn a place here through merit, rather than some egregious clerical oversight?" As the commander strode away, Luna's roommate, Click, scuttled closer on 6 spindly legs, her iridescent carapace clicking with undisguised mirth. "That was magnificent," the insectoid chirped, her synthesized voice tinkling. "I especially admired your heartfelt apology to the Andromeda Galaxy projection. You truly showed that celestial body who was in charge." "I was simply being courteous," Luna replied, finally upright with her reassembled datapad. "And don't you dare bring up the clerical error nonsense. I aced every entrance exam fair and square." "Of course you did." Click's multifaceted eyes gleamed with playful skepticism. "I'm certain it had absolutely nothing to do with the Academy's antiquated computer system, still classifying Earth as a low-gravity agricultural haven populated by docility itself. Those esteemed bureaucrats couldn't locate their own thoraxes with a map and a search party." With both hands clutching a star chart, Luna sighed as they walked toward their dormitory. The Academy was a breathtaking feat of engineering, its vast corridors accommodating beings from the minuscule pipsqueaks to the colossal Kronthors. Every surface gleamed with an impeccable military polish, and the air recyclers hummed with the synchronized efficiency of countless worlds. It was magnificent, imposing, and utterly overwhelming. "I just want to fit in," Luna murmured, her voice barely a whisper. "Is that too much to ask?" Click considered this. "Given you're apparently the galactic equivalent of a lost puppy. Yeah, probably. But hey, you're certainly entertaining. Do you know how dull this place was before you arrived? Just endless military posturing and complaints about protein paste. Now we get daily comedy shows starring Luna Hayes, the human who apologizes to automatic doors." I said I was sorry about that, Luna protested. Those doors are incredibly polite. They always open for me. They open for everyone, Luna, Click retorted. That's literally their function. As they reached their quarters, Luna couldn't shake the feeling of being caught in a cosmic jest, with her as the punchline. Tomorrow promised more trials, more opportunities for mortification, and more chances to prove that humans truly didn't belong amongst the stars. Little did she know, the galaxy was on the brink of a profound revelation regarding human capabilities. The combat assessment arena appeared crafted by someone intent on broadcasting the gravity and terror of military training. Its floor was reinforced durasteel, the walls composed of energy-dampened composite, and the ceiling soared high enough for species capable of leaping over buildings. Luna stood at the arena's edge, feeling as formidable as a common houseplant. Today's assessment, announced Instructor Grath, a four-armed warrior whose species seemed to have evolved from the universe's most successful predators, will test your hand-to-hand combat abilities. You will face opponents chosen by random lottery. Luna tentatively raised her hand. Excuse me, but might I possibly sit this one out? I'm really more of a theoretical combat enthusiast. I've devoured countless books on fighting. It's quite educational, and far safer than actual combat. Negative, Cadet Hayes, Grath boomed. Academy regulations mandate participation in all physical assessments, irrespective of species or personal inclination. The random lottery system, which Luna increasingly suspected was anything but random, pitted her against Brutalix, a member of the ultimate predator species. Brutalix stood nearly 3 meters tall, tipped the scales at a formidable 700 kilograms, and bore the unmistakable resemblance of a crocodile that had been subjected to a relentless diet of protein supplements and pure rage, then taught to walk upright, and its teeth sharpened to a terrifying point. Oh, come on, Luna whispered to herself, disbelief evident in her tone. What are the odds? The odds, she would soon learn, were approximately 847 to 1 against her. Click, with an insightful calculation from the spectator area, confirmed my suspicion that I might have suggested you'd benefit from tougher adversaries. My apologies. The assembled cadets instantly commenced placing wagers. Zorf, an ethereal being resembling stylized lightning, vibrated with mirth. I'll give the human 30 seconds before tears flow. Sergeant Howell, a K-9 officer whose lineage stemmed from primal pack hunters, countered with a 20-second estimate. Brutalix scoffs at preliminary warm-ups. Your optimism is misplaced, declared a silicon-based entity whose voice rasped like grinding rock. I foresee instant incapacitation upon initial contact. Luna absorbed every pronouncement, each wager feeling like another blow to her dwindling confidence. She approached Brutalix, who was engaged in a pre-fight display of fierce roars and menacing postures. Greetings, she offered, her tone polite. I'm Luna. I understand we're meant to battle, but perhaps we could orchestrate a charade. I could feign a dramatic collapse, and you could exult with a triumphant roar. A mutually agreeable outcome for all. Brutalix responded by baring his formidable teeth, an expression far from amicable. I shall shatter your fragile bones, diminutive mammal. Your species' inherent frailty will be laid bare for all to witness. Right. That's not the least bit unsettling, is it? Luna murmured wryly. Might we initiate with something less catastrophic? Perhaps a measured display of intimidation, a stern admonition? The medical contingent then wheeled in additional provisions, notably something strongly resembling a body receptacle. Luna noted its presence and raised her hand once more. Is that truly warranted? I mean, I acknowledge my limitations in this arena, but a dramatic demise isn't precisely my objective. Standard procedure for intraspecies encounters, announced Instructor Grath, his voice devoid of emotion. especially when the physical disparities are this pronounced. Physical disparity, Luna echoed. Is that a considerate euphemism for being pulverized into biological paste? Essentially, yes, Grath confirmed, his expression possibly hinting at commiseration, if his species were capable of such sentiment. Brutalix flexed his knuckles, producing a sound akin to fractured stone. Your agony will be fleeting, delicate flesh. I shall conclude this swiftly. How remarkably considerate, Luna replied faintly. I truly value your approach of mercy in my impending total obliteration. Around them, the betting intensified, the odds spiraling into absurdity. One pool apparently speculated on Luna's ability to remain conscious long enough to concede defeat, while another focused on the number of dismembered fragments she might become. Luna surveyed the expectant faces of her peers, all anticipating her inevitable disgrace. Even the instructors seemed to regard the event as spectacle, rather than instruction. The sole flicker of kindness she detected emanated from Click, who, despite possessing computational faculties ill-suited for emotional interpretation, managed a look of profound encouragement. Well, Luna mused inwardly, it simply cannot worsen from here. The cosmos, however, evidently harbored a distinctly different perspective. The trial by combat commenced with somber pageantry, a prelude to what Luna anticipated would be her inevitable doom. Brutalic advanced with the assuredness of a predator unaccustomed to challenge. Luna initiated her self-dubbed apologetic evasion, murmuring apologies as she nimbly dodged Brutalic's sweeping claws. My apologies. I'm merely trying to yield the path, she explained, retreating. While this is ostensibly a contest, I confess to being far more inclined toward escape. You know, the fight or flight response? I most certainly embody the flight aspect. Brutalic growled in vexation as his follow-up missed by a mere whisper. Luna, despite her perceived frailty, demonstrated an uncanny knack for evading his deadly strikes. Halt, Craven. Meet your end with valor. Valor and I are hardly acquainted, Luna retorted, ducking a blow that would have leveled a substantial structure. Moreover, standing still seems to actively contradict my fervent desire to avoid disintegration. The crowd stirred restlessly. Zor pulsed with impatience. This drags on interminably. The human flees like a startled fawn. Sergeant Howell observed, he could conclude this at any moment. His crystalline form hummed with irritation. I did not attend to witness an extended pursuit. Where is the promised devastation? Luna continued her dance of evasion, offering profuse apologies to Brutalic with each near miss. Forgive me. I understand your intent to strike, and I persist in my evasions. I imagine that must be most trying. Honestly, I am trying my own patience. Brutalic's composure finally shattered. With a guttural roar that vibrated through the arena's fortified walls, he launched himself forward, channeling his entire 700-kilogram frame into a singular, decisive charge. His claws extended, his maw gaped, transforming him into a living embodiment of predatory fury. Luna, witnessing his charge, reacted as any rational individual would when confronted by an elemental force. She was overcome with panic. Oh dear, oh heavens no, she stammered. In this state of sheer terror, she performed an act later described by onlookers as defying the very laws of physics, utterly insane, and the most chilling human action ever witnessed. She arrested his momentum. Brutalic's charge, which should have obliterated Luna into a mere impact crater, instead saw her seize the colossal predator mid-air. For a fleeting instant, they were locked in a surreal tableau. Brutalic's expression morphed from savage wrath to utter bewilderment as he found himself suspended, held aloft by a human, weighing a mere fraction of his own mass. My, this is rather inconvenient, Luna commented, cradling the 700 kilograms of bewildered predator as one might an oversized, highly irate feline. Then, because sheer panic compels inexplicable actions, and because Luna's mind was evidently operating on a potent blend of adrenaline and primal fear, she flung him, not gently, but hurled Brutal X across the vast arena like a mere weight, a projectile with teeth and mass. Brutalix, a blur of confusion and sheer disbelief, sailed through the air, his dawning horror as he comprehended his flight. He impacted the reinforced wall with a sound like a splintering meteor, gouging a crater in the supposedly unbreakable composite. Silence descended, broken only by the soft patter of falling debris. Luna, poised centrally, scanned the stunned faces of her peers. "Is everyone all right?" she asked, her voice laced with worry. "That sounded quite painful. Should I summon medical assistance?" Brutalix slid down the damaged wall, a deflated form leaving a web of cracks, before landing with a soft thud, utterly still. "Oh my stars," Luna breathed, hastening to the impact site. "Are you truly okay? My deepest apologies. I never intended such force. I was overwhelmed with panic. Your weight was immense and I clearly overcompensated." She knelt beside the inert predator, her gaze searching for any flicker of life. "Please don't be deceased. I truly cannot bear the thought of having taken a life during my first combat assessment. It would guarantee a dreadful grade." The medical contingent, braced for Luna's potential injuries, now rushed to attend to Brutalix instead. The spectator bays hushed, each individual grappling with the sheer spectacle. "Ed," Zor's form flickered with uncertainty. "Did that human just launch Brutal across the entire arena?" "That appears to be an accurate observation," Teeth confirmed, his crystalline structure resonating with profound bewilderment. Sergeant Howe's ears flattened against his head. "That's utterly impossible. Humans simply do not possess that level of raw power." Luna looked up from her awkward attempts to reposition Brutalix's unconscious form. "My sincerest apologies, everyone. I acknowledge that was not a display of typical sporting conduct. Perhaps we could declare it a draw." The arena's sophisticated sensor network experienced what could only be described as a complete system meltdown. Alarms shrieked, warning lights flashed erratically, and the central display cycled through error messages in 17 distinct languages. The system struggled to quantify the force Luna had just unleashed, its calculations evidently yielding incomprehensible results. "Impossible force detected," the system announced in its unsettlingly placid tone. "Recalibrating sensors. Error. Error. Data does not compute." Commander Vex Thor erupted into the arena, his golden eyes burning with a fury typically reserved for insubordinate personnel and fiscal audits. "What is the meaning of this catastrophic disruption? Why are the sensors failing? And pray tell, why is there a Brutalix-shaped void in my wall?" Luna rose from her position of trying to arrange Brutalix's limbs into what she hoped were non-painful configurations. "I can provide an explanation, sir. Well, technically, I cannot articulate it, but I can paint a picture of what transpired, which, while not an explanation, is certainly better than silence." Cadet Vex Thor's voice possessed an edge that could cleave steel. "Did you, or did you not, just hurl a 700-kilogram predator across my training facility?" "Technically, yes," Luna stammered, wringing her hands, "but it was entirely unintentional. I was merely trying to halt its relentless charge, and it was so incredibly heavy. I panicked, and somehow my limbs just acted on their own. It was likely just adrenaline. Humans become extraordinarily powerful when fear grips them, correct? The fight-or-flight response and all that." The medical team, examining Brutal, looked up, their faces etched with professional concern. "Commander, the patient has suffered 3 fractured ribs, a mild concussion, and what appears to be a profoundly bruised ego. He is stable, but will require extensive medical attention." I am so terribly sorry, Luna repeated, her voice thick with remorse. I never intended to harm him. I was simply attempting to safeguard myself. Is there anything at all I can do? Perhaps an apology note? Some flowers, perhaps? Do his species appreciate flora? The other cadets had been recoiling from Luna since she'd propelled Brutalix into the stratosphere. Now, they maintained a palpable, self-imposed safety perimeter. Zorf was flickering with unease. Sergeant Howe's hackles were visibly raised, and even Thuck seemed to vibrate at an uncharacteristically elevated frequency. This is incomprehensible, Vex Thor muttered, accessing Luna's file on his personal data pad. Our records indicate humans are a fragile species originating from a low-gravity world. They possess no inherent weaponry, no natural defenses, no augmented strength capabilities. That's precisely what I've been informing everyone, Luna affirmed. We are, in essence, merely intelligent primates prone to anxiety. I have no clue how I accomplished that throwing feat. Perhaps it was an anomaly. Unforeseen occurrences sometimes transpire when one is gripped by intense fear. Click scuttled forward, her multifaceted eyes gleaming with an expression Luna now recognized as her, "I possess critical information you lack." You might wish to re-examine those records, Commander. I've undertaken some preliminary research into human homeworld specifications. What research? Vex Thor demanded. It appears Earth's gravitational pull is inaccurately recorded in the Academy database. An entry error listed it at 0.3 standard, when in reality, it should be 2.7 standard. That's nearly triple galactic norm. The arena fell into a profound silence, broken only by the persistent chirping of the sensor systems and Brutal X's unconscious moans. That's impossible, Vex Thor stated weakly. If humans evolved under gravity nearly 3 times standard, it would render them virtually organic siege engines. Click concluded with cheerful finality, living their entire existence within what the rest of us would deem a crushing, high-gravity environment. Every stride they take, every movement they execute is, by our standards, akin to constant, rigorous strength conditioning. Luna surveyed the horrified countenances of her classmates. Is that detrimental? I mean, I understand Earth's gravity is a trifle potent, but it's not so terrible once you become accustomed to it. You simply must be vigilant to avoid stumbling, for when you fall, the descent is truly significant, rather intense. Zorf's energy form was oscillating with such alarming speed that he resembled a pulsating light. You describe a gravitational force that crushes, breaks bones, and obliterates muscle as merely rather intense. Yes, Luna replied, a touch bewildered. I mean, it wasn't as if we had any other option. That's simply the nature of our planet. Adapt or perish. Wouldn't you agree? Although I suppose that clarifies why I consistently feel so buoyant and light here. I had attributed it to the manufactured atmosphere. The gravity of the situation began to permeate the arena, like a creeping stain. If humans spent their entire existence within what was essentially a natural regimen for building strength, then Luna wasn't fragile at all. She possessed the potential to be the Academy's most formidable being, an astonishing reality she was completely unaware of. Oh, Luna exclaimed, as understanding dawned. Oh dear, this is exceedingly problematic, isn't it? The unconscious Brutal emitted another pained groan, as though corroborating her assessment. The Academy's emergency response frameworks were never conceived to address a scenario where the Academy's most delicate cadet emerged as a potential instrument of mass annihilation. Within a mere hour following the Brutal incident, as it was already being termed, the administrative echelons were abuzz with activity that bore an uncanny resemblance to outright panic. Luna remained in the medical bay, observing as the technicians initiated their third comprehensive assessment of her. She endeavored to be cooperative by maintaining absolute stillness, yet any slight shift in her posture prompted a technician to flinch and implore her to refrain. I genuinely fail to grasp the magnitude of this concern, she confided to the medical officer, a mollusk-like entity whose lineage had originated from the galaxy's most inherently timid herbivores. I merely propelled one individual. It's hardly as though I obliterated the academy. The medical officer's ocular appendages shifted with palpable unease. Cadet Hayes, our calculations indicate that the force you exerted was comparable to a minor explosive detonation. Had your trajectory been different, you could have propelled Brutal X through the wall, across the subsequent corridor, and potentially into an adjacent structure. However, I did not, Luna stated with simple logic. I was exceedingly conscientious in directing him into the wall rather than through it. I am not a monstrosity. That very fact is what instills our dread. The medical officer murmured under his breath. Down in the testing laboratory, Luna was requested to exhibit certain fundamental human capabilities for the edification of the Academy's scientific personnel. She attempted to convey that her physical strength was not particularly remarkable by human standards, but they were resolute in documenting every facet of her abilities. "Would you be so kind as to lift that equipment containment unit?" inquired Dr. Tentacles, a cephalopod-like investigator whose species had evolved from the galaxy's most intellectually advanced invertebrates. Luna surveyed the unit, which approximated the dimensions of a coffee table and appeared to be fashioned from a remarkably dense metallic alloy. "Are you quite certain? It appears rather costly. It is engineered to withstand the impact of a celestial body." Tentacles reassured her, urging her to lift the case as she normally would. Luna shrugged, effortlessly hoisting the container with one hand, holding it easily at arm's length. Around the lab, scientists scribbled notes that resembled final testaments, their faces a mixture of awe and apprehension. "Is this typical for you?" Dr. Tentacles inquired, his appendages quivering with a blend of scientific intrigue and sheer terror. "Well, I'm not exactly the strongest person from Earth," Luna explained, gently placing the case down. "I mean, I never participated in sports. I'm more of a reader. My father, a construction worker, could probably lift this with his little finger. And professional athletes? They're practically superhuman." "Superhuman," Dr. Tentacles echoed. "By your own standards, you're extraordinary. It's truly impressive what the human body can achieve when properly honed. I recall a documentary about individuals who could lift vehicles, endure marathons, and scale mountains. Utterly astounding." The research team exchanged knowing glances, revealing the collective turmoil of their minds. Meanwhile, in the Academy's command center, Commander Vex Thor was grappling with an existential crisis. The Galactic Defense Council demanded answers, and his explanations were rapidly devolving into absurdity. "Allow me to grasp this." High Admiral Zephix's voice resonated through the communication array. "You're suggesting the species we deemed weakest in the galaxy are, in fact, natural-born super soldiers?" "That appears to be the reality, sir," Vex Thor responded, his voice tinged with utter defeat. "Our understanding of human physiology has been fundamentally flawed, and none of our extensive background checks uncovered this. The records were filed under harmless agricultural species, sir. No one suspected a need for deeper scrutiny of planetary specifications." A profound silence followed, conveying the dawning realization of an entire bureaucracy's monumental error. "How many humans are currently enrolled in Academy programs?" High Admiral Zex finally queried. 17, sir. They've all performed poorly in physical assessments, leading us to believe they weren't suited for military service." "They were performing poorly because they were deliberately restraining themselves." The High Admiral grasped that they had been trying desperately not to harm anyone. Back in the medical bay, Luna continued her attempts to downplay her abilities. "Look, I know the gravity aspect makes me seem stronger than I am, but I'm truly not dangerous. I've never intentionally hurt anyone. Well, except for Brutal X, but that was entirely accidental. I'm actually quite clumsy. Just ask anyone." Click. who had been observing the unfolding events with amused detachment, finally interjected. "Luna dear, you need to understand something. What you just accomplished is akin to me casually punching through a starship hull. You are not clumsy. You're terrifying," they whisper. "No, I'm not," Luna insisted, her voice soft. "I'm Luna. I apologize to automatic doors and thank food dispensers. Terrifying people don't do that." "Terrifying people trying desperately not to be," Click countered. "Absolutely do." He continued, "You've been tiptoeing across the galaxy, afraid to break anything, and we all mistook your caution for weakness. Turns out, you're the most dangerous entity in the Academy, far too polite to truly harm anyone." Luna pondered this. "So you're saying I'm terrifying by accident?" "Catastrophically terrifying," Click confirmed. "And the truly remarkable thing is, you haven't the faintest idea how to switch it off." 3 weeks after the Brutal X debacle, Luna Hayes had transformed into a legend at the Galactic Defense Academy. Not a heroic legend, mind you, but the kind that sent students scrambling to the other side of the corridor at her approach. The Academy had introduced human safety protocols, a delicate euphemism for the pervasive warning labels now attached to everything Luna interacted with. Training equipment had been reinforced. Walls had been fortified. Even some of the more delicate species had been outfitted with what appeared to be rudimentary blast shields. Luna sat in the cafeteria, a solitary figure at a table engineered to withstand the unpredictable forces of human interaction, constructed from the same material used for starship hull breaches. Yet it still shuddered slightly when she placed her juice box down. "I just wanted a normal college experience," she confided in Click, her sole remaining companion bold enough to share her space. "To make friends, learn, maybe join a study group. I never signed up to be the Academy's personal instrument of mass destruction." "To be fair," Click observed, "you are still learning. You've discovered that humans are essentially living weapons. You've realized the entire galaxy has been miscategorizing your species. And you've learned that Brutal X makes rather fascinating squeaking noises when rendered unconscious." Luna's shoulders slumped. "He still won't speak to me. I've left him 3 apology notes, but he just ducks behind other cadets whenever he sees me. Yesterday I waved, and he hurled himself behind a food dispenser." Click sighed. "Can you blame him? You quite literally launched him into the next week. His entire understanding of existence has been irrevocably altered. He went from apex predator to plaything in roughly 30 seconds. Luna toyed with her lunch, her specially designed fork, incapable of bending under human grip strength, probing the food. "I just want to return to normalcy. I want to be ignored, underestimated. Being feared is dreadful." "I hate to shatter your illusions," Click said, "but normal is a concept that no longer applies. You cannot unthrow a 700-kilogram predator across a room. That's simply not how the universe operates." A palpable current of unease rippled through the cafeteria. Other cadets would steal glances at Luna, their eyes darting away the instant she happened to notice. Silence fell when she passed. The very food dispensers seemed to hurry her meals, as if fearing her impatience. "The worst," Luna confided, "is the constant demand for demonstrations. Yesterday, Instructor Grath asked me to nudge a training dummy, and with my best attempt at gentleness, it rocketed across the room, embedding itself in the wall." Click scoffed. "You're as gentle as a meteor shower. You need to redefine normal." The Academy's swift response included new rules for human cadets, mandatory strength limiters, specialized gear, and environmental impact assessments for any physical exertion. Her combat training moved to a site resembling a bomb testing range, and holographic sparring partners replaced live ones, no one daring another violent encounter. "I even broke a hologram yesterday," Luna confessed. "I tried to grapple it, and somehow overloaded the projectors. The technician insisted it was impossible, yet there I stood, holding a cloud of sparks, apologizing to bewildered engineers." "You shattered a hologram," Click echoed. Do you grasp the physical impossibility? I'm beginning to suspect physically impossible doesn't quite apply to humans, Luna mused, which is rather inconvenient. I rather enjoyed a universe where physics made sense. As if conjured by their words, Commander Vex Thor approached. The imposing reptilian officer appeared aged, his uniform frayed. Cadet Hayes, he stated, voice tight. We need to discuss your advanced combat assessments. Oh, please no, Luna pleaded. Don't make me fight. I can't bear accidentally hospitalizing anyone else. My anxiety is already sky high. Actually, Vex Thor relented, we're waiving those. The review board deems you an unacceptable risk to cadets, equipment, and the Academy's very structure. So I'm expelled? Luna asked, weighing relief against disappointment. No, a specialized program awaits, Vex Thor clarified, tailored to your unique talents. You'll focus on strategic planning, diplomatic protocols, and advanced xenobiology, anything that doesn't involve breaking things. Luna scanned the cafeteria, her peers keeping a respectful distance. Will I still graduate with everyone else? Vex Thor clarified. If by everyone else you mean those who haven't been classified as extinction-level threats, then yes. Luna protested. That's hardly flattering. Vex Thor countered, it's meant to be accurate, not flattering. After Vex Thor departed, Luna sat in quiet thought, then grasped her juice box, inadvertently crushing it and splashing liquid. Oops, she murmured, grabbing a napkin. I'm still adjusting to being accidentally dangerous. Click watched her friend meticulously blot the spill, noting, it's amusing, isn't it? You're still the same polite Luna, apologizing to inanimate objects and trying not to bother anyone. The only difference is now everyone knows you could probably move a starship if you wished. Luna mused, so I'm still me, just with more dread about my potential for accidental damage? Precisely, Click affirmed. You're Luna Hayes, the galaxy's most apologetic weapon of mass destruction. As if to punctuate this, Luna stood to discard her tray and nudged a floor-bolted table, causing it to shift. Cadets nearby scrambled away. Sorry, Luna called out. My fault. The table's fine. Everyone's fine. Please don't flee. But they had already vanished, leaving her alone, tray in hand, looking bewildered. My social skills need work, she confessed to Click. Click chuckled. Your social skills are fine. Your species is the issue. You've inadvertently terrified advanced civilizations simply by existing. Luna considered this. That's actually quite impressive. She surveyed the Academy's pristine halls and precise atmosphere, still feeling a sense of belonging. You know what? She finally said. I think I'm okay with being accidentally terrifying. At least people remember my name now. Oh, they definitely remember your name, Click agreed. You'll be in textbooks someday. Luna Hayes, the human who showed the galaxy that bureaucratic blunders can have spectacular repercussions. As they walked, Luna couldn't help but a small smile touched her lips. She had journeyed to the Academy with a singular dream, to demonstrate humanity's rightful place among the cosmos. Mission success, though not precisely how she'd envisioned it. The galaxy, from this moment on, would never dare to dismiss humankind. And in truth, wasn't that the very essence of the H5 situation? Even if its culmination involved the unexpected flinging of a formidable 700-kilogram predator across the expanse of a room, some triumphs, she mused, were simply born from sheer, unadulterated chance.